August 20th, we get the rematch we've been waiting for. Oleksandr Usyk versus Anthony Joshua. Now look, I'll be the first to admit, when the first fight ended, I wasn't exactly sure we were going to get this rematch. And even if we were, I wasn't exactly sure we were going to get it right away. Then Anthony Joshua said that he wanted to exercise that rematch clause. I said, man, he did the same thing against Ruiz. He wants to get right back in there. I'm not exactly sure that's the best decision for him. I'm not sure who's giving him his advice or whether he's even listening to the advice that he's getting, but he said he's going to do it. He's a man of his word. He's going to get right back in there. If there's nothing else that we can say about Anthony Joshua, one thing that we can say with absolute certainty is that the man's a fighter. He's not backing down from a challenge. He's not scared of going in there and potentially getting a second loss. And then all of a sudden we saw another wrinkle get thrown in the game when we see the war in Ukraine. Usyk goes over there. Who knows what's going to happen at that point? One thing leads to another. He says he's coming back. He's going to enter training camp. We're going to get the fight August 20th. And we're here. Fight week, man. And we get the rematch. Now, look, there's a lot of things that we could say about this fight. There's a lot of different things that we could delve into, right? Think about the story leading into the first one. It was the incredibly skilled, smaller man who had been moving up in weight, going in there against Anthony Joshua. Not by any means was Anthony Joshua like this big, brooding brawler, some guy who was slow-footed but heavy-handed, and that we were going to get this fast, super skilled Usyk, and we were going to see this, I don't know, like a David and Goliath type battle, or these incredibly different styles with this contrast that was going to come in. But in some ways, we were getting that narrative, right? Just because of the fact that Anthony Joshua, very big guy, been in heavyweight for so long, very muscular, right? And then we had Usyk who was moving up, and the way he fights, and he's faster, and he's got the different skill set and everything. Really intriguing. Really intriguing, and we saw how that one played out. I think the way this fight plays out, honestly, it's going to be very similar. And it's for the simple fact that even though Joshua saw success in that first fight, and let's not forget that, it's easy to overlook that. It's easy to look at the impressive performance that Usyk delivered. It's easy to think about that upset that he pulled off. It's easy to look at how beautiful it was, the way he used the footwork, and the way he came in and delivered the left hand, the way he was moving around and creating the angles, the way he kept Joshua guessing, the way Joshua looked so confused at times. It's easy because all of those things were so impressive and they were so obvious and they led to the victory. It's easy to forget about the success that Joshua saw. Right? Some through the middle rounds, some through the later rounds. But he was able to make some things happen. He was able to make some adjustments. And the easiest way to sum up those adjustments is to say that he stopped loading up. Stopped loading up on his shots. And by doing that, he was able to get them off quicker. He was able to not telegraph them. He was able to make contact with Usyk. And just by making contact, that was enough. You don't got to go out there and try and blast the guy out of there with one shot. So who do you think you are, Deontay Wilder? Every punch has to go out there and be a knockout punch. Every punch you're trying to hit a home run or strikeout. That's the story. Especially doesn't work against a guy who's as talented as Usyk. Wasn't working. He switched it up a little bit. Started just trying to get his shots out there instead of trying to put so much power on him. Started to see some success. Now look, Usyk is no bum. He made some adjustments. I think he's got the much bigger tool bag. He's got the much bigger skill set. He was the one who was able to make the eventual adjustments that led to the victory. He walked away with all the belts. And if I sum up the way that he did it, he was able to do a lot of things, but really what led to everything was the footwork. You know, I could talk about the way that he used that left hand. I could talk about the way that he was getting in and out, the way that he was moving side to side with the lateral movement, creating the angles. I could talk about the feints. I could talk about the way that he was able to get that jab going as the smaller man. There were so many things that he did. But all of it was predicated off of the footwork. If it wasn't for the footwork, nothing else works. With the footwork, he's able to make it all work. He's able to pick and choose. He's able to do all those things. It was all because of that. The easiest example, the most prominent example is the way that he's able, as a southpaw, the ways he's able to get his right foot, which is his lead foot, to the outside of Joshua's lead foot. That creates the perfect throwing lane for that left hand. It just makes a beautiful straight line with that timing, with that footwork. He was able to go out there and just put it on Joshua, a man who's slower, a man whose timing isn't as good, a man whose hands aren't as fast, a man whose combinations aren't as quick, a man who's not able to work angles as well. He's not been able to pivot on that front foot as good. He's not able to bend at the waist as well. All of those things, he's at a huge deficit. I don't think he's going to be able to change any of them. The only thing that I think Joshua can do is the same thing that he saw success with in that last fight. Whether it was for 1 round or 5 rounds, however many rounds that you think he saw that little bit of success that he had, it was still there. It wasn't random. It was on purpose. He can recreate that. That's the only way that I think that he can see success in this fight. I think he's going to do it at times. It's not going to be enough. He goes out there and trains his trainers. He's like, man, I need a different look. This guy isn't working for me. This is the second loss I got. I need to go in here. I switch it up. I get Robert Garcia. Great. Robert Garcia is a world-renowned trainer. He was a world champion himself when he was fighting. He's got, his younger brother, Marky Garcia, was a world champion. He's trained many world champions. That makes a lot of sense. He's very fundamentally sound. There's a lot of things that Robert Garcia can teach a man. No doubt about it. Is he going to be able to teach Anthony Joshua enough to be able to go in there in one training camp, 6 months, 8 months, whatever you want to say it is, just this short period of time, relative to how long Anthony Joshua has been in the sport of boxing, short period of time. Is he going to be able to go in there and teach him enough that he's going to be able to go in there and beat Usyk in a fight? No, not going to happen. As a matter of fact, I think that there's a chance that when things get tough, we actually see it work against him a little bit negatively, in the sense that Joshua has to start to overthink it. It's not natural yet. He hasn't been working with Robert Garcia for this really long time. So maybe at that point he goes in there, and while he's in the process of trying to retrain his natural instincts according to what the new trainer wants, he starts to think about it a little bit. Takes that extra half second. I don't think that's going to work out well with a man of Usyk's caliber. So at the end of the day, I think Usyk comes away with the victory in a very similar fashion to what we saw last time. I think he's able to walk away with it. I think Anthony Joshua, who knows what's next for him after that. I'm not really sure. The man is still obviously incredibly talented. He's still going to be able to go out there and beat the brakes off of plenty of people in the heavyweight division. But Usyk is just a horrible matchup for him. I don't see him able to get the victory in this one. But hey, weirder things have happened. He did see success in that first fight. And if he did see a little bit the first time, no matter how small, that means he can go in there, he can recreate it. Or maybe Usyk is maybe his mind's a little bit off. Right? Maybe because of the war, he's worried about things. Maybe it threw off his training. Maybe he looks a little bit bigger now. Right? We saw him moving around a little bit. He looks a little bit. I don't know what his weight is, but his core looked a little bit thicker. Maybe his speed's a little bit off. Maybe carrying around that extra weight affected his cardio. Who knows? But all of those things are maybes. What I do know is the difference in the skill set. What I do know is the technique. I think Usyk walks away with this one. So let me know what you guys think. Am I overestimating the skills that Usyk brings to the table? Am I underestimating maybe what Robert Garcia is going to be able to do with Anthony Joshua, or maybe just the grit and the determination that Anthony Joshua has? I mean, let's be honest. He went out there and made a complete change against Andy Ruiz to come away with the victory in the second one. Now, look, we all know that Andy Ruiz isn't Usyk. But that doesn't mean that Anthony Joshua isn't able to buckle down, make the necessary adjustments, and come away with the victory in this one. So, one thing's for sure, I'm super excited to see the fight. Who do you guys think is going to come away with the victory? Let me know.